In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better, stay safer. Crimson Trace.
I'm a gun owner.
Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of Gun Talk.
You know, I don't think that guns are scary things.
Visit us online at www.guntalk.com. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, back to Gun Talk.
All right, 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. Tom Gresham, if you'd like to send me an email, tom@guntalk.com. We have an interesting conversation going on over on Twitter where we got some folks here saying that birdshot's a terrible idea. And they've been reading about it on the internet, and it's telling them it's bad, it won't work. Except for all those people who get killed with it. You know, get blown up with it. Yeah, I know. I get it. Look, everything, and by the way, if you'd like to join us, it's 866-TALK-GUN. If you have a comment, a thought, if you'd like to just weigh in on this subject. Every choice we make about self-defense firearms is a compromise. Start off with that and then return to it often. Every choice we make with self-defense with firearms is a compromise. Handguns are terrible at stopping attacks, but they generally public frowns on us carrying AR-15s around with us all the time. So we carry handguns because we can conceal them. We do this understanding that a handgun is a poor choice for stopping an attacker, but it's what we have. Some people say, well, if you had to go to a gunfight, what would you take? Oh, I would take something that I fired by pulling on a rope, a lanyard, like a cannon. So people who say, I am concerned with shooting through walls, that's where I say, okay, then you may want to consider birdshot. If you're in, as our caller was, in a single wide mobile home, you're not going to have any long shots in there. And inside of 10 feet, that's feet, not yards, inside of 10 feet, a load of a birdshot is utterly devastating. And people say, well, what if he's not 10 feet? What if he's further than that? Yep. It's a compromise. Whichever thing you choose is not going to be right for everything. And you know what? You pay your money and you take your choices. You take your chances. You understand that this is going to work for some things and not for others. By the way, speaking of that, you may be surprised at how well some small handguns will work. We spent 3 days of shooting video this week with Rob Latham from Springfield Armory, of course, world champion shooter. Had a lot of fun doing some interesting things. But one of the things we did was we had Ryan, a co-host of the show, and Rob shooting the XDS 3.3 and the XDS 4.0. Little, small defensive guns, 9mm. We started them, we're shooting at steel, regulation silhouette person type steel target. Started at about, maybe 65 yards. Yeah, I know, a long way back. And they were hitting the steel, I would call it 75% of the time. Back at 85 yards, they were still hitting it roughly the same. And we backed up really as far as we could go where we were, put them up on top of a berm. They're shooting at about 110 yards with these little 9mm pistols. And they're hitting steel at least half the time. The only reason they didn't hit it more than that is because the front sight at that distance is wider than the target. And so when you put the sights on the target and you're holding a little bit high, you can't see the target. So you have to hold off like to the side and then slide it over, block out the target and pull the trigger. So it's not perfect, but it does show you how accurate these pistols can be. It's going to be interesting. We'll put that up on the web and we'll announce it here. You'll have a chance to look at that. Joining me right now is Rich Burgess from Connecticut Carry. Rich contacted us and said, hey, I want to correct some misinformation that's out there. Hey, Rich, how you doing?
Hi, Tom. How are you doing?
I am great. I have gotten this email, as have probably millions of other people, saying that they're confiscating guns in Connecticut. Not true?
I would say no. As a matter of principle, I think that's not true. I think A lot of people have gotten this thing very, very confused. And the media's put it out there that this is confiscation and that this is a letter that's been sent out to everybody. But when you look at the reality of it, we have not seen any letter sent out to anybody in the state of Connecticut. And even when you look at the letter that they're, prescribing to be sent out to people, these letters are not confiscation. What they are is stating what the law was come 4/4/2013. These rules that they prescribed said that you had to either to give up the information to the state police or to the FFL or to any other person. But they did not say that we're going to batter down your door. Now, we're not saying that the Connecticut State Police won't do that. We certainly actually believe that they will and possibly are planning to do that. However, there needs to be some kind of reason in the national discourse of let's try not to promote a civil war in Connecticut by saying that we are going to, be subjects to confiscation right now.
So explain to people, kind of give everybody the cliff notes of what happened in Connecticut with your law, and specifically last year and then January 1.
Well, in January 1st, we had a registration deadline, I would say, that if you had what was termed an assault weapon, which, is very specific to Connecticut law, of course, at that point you had to register your firearms, and this includes large capacity magazines as defined by Connecticut law, of course. Mm-hmm. And these firearms and magazines had to be declared to the Connecticut State Police. Now, as reported in many of the journals out there and many of the media sources out there, this has not taken place. Now, we don't know, and I don't think anybody can know, how much of this is due to civil disobedience or how much of this is due to just ignorance.
But one number I heard was, I heard that something on the order of 80% of the people with these firearms have not registered them. Are you getting any kind of numbers?
I think all numbers right now are extremely skewed to nothingness. The numbers that we have, the Connecticut State Police have terrible, terrible, terrible records. And that's we, as one of the only hosts of those numbers, I don't think any of the numbers can be quite, sanctified as any kind of good number right now.
Okay,
so I think what people need to remember is that these numbers don't mean anything, but yes, of course, many residents will not comply or have not complied. But I think we need to sit back and realize that this is not a good thing or a bad thing. People didn't comply or they didn't comply because they were ignorant. Neither of those good things are good things. It's a lot of victims out there of the state violence that is about to ensue.
What is what's the punishment? What's the what are you guilty of if you didn't register your gun the way you were supposed to?
In most cases, and obviously there are very specific cases, but in most cases it will be a felony.
It will be a felony for not registering your gun. And then there were some people who sent in the registration but missed the deadline, so they have essentially self-reported themselves as breaking the law.
Exactly. And that's what we're really trying to push out there is the media attention that went on to these letters was in response to people who registered but did not meet the deadline. And to those people, they swore to the state through sworn affidavits that they were criminals. And I don't know how better to express this to people. I don't believe that they were criminals, obviously. You don't believe they were criminals. They merely possessed firearms to protect themselves.
But they
However,
said,
when you look at the facts, the state indicated that here is what you need to have an assault weapon, and here is what you had, and they swore to it.
All right, so let me ask you this, Rich. You've got thousands or tens of thousands of people who own firearms that are not registered, that are required to be registered. What do we do now?
Well, that's where Connecticut Carry comes in. We want to try to protect the people who did not register. We want to protect the people who had nothing at that time but want to get new firearms. We want to protect all of the people who want to bear arms in defense of themselves in the state, which is what Connecticut's Constitution articulates. And so for us, the whole idea goes wide and beyond just this concept of, will the state send out letters?
All right, where is the harm? Because you specifically said, look, there's real harm here, and everybody getting all worked up and promoting this deal that there's confiscation going on in Connecticut. Express to everybody what the harm is and people saying that when it's not true.
Right. It's traumatic. We have the state police who are pitted against the civilians, and right now the state police have not sent out any letters. It's just a falsehood that any journalism has gone on that says that these letters have gone out. So the state police have not sent out any letters, and yet people are trying to anticipate whether there's going to be a civil war here in Connecticut. And people need to relax and realize that, first of all the media sources that have said this are false. Okay? And then the second thing is, Connecticut stands ready to deal with these issues as they come up. I'm sure patriots and our members and other members and people in the public in general are willing to deal with these things as they come up, and as the Connecticut Carry is not a sponsor of the Connecticut State Police, we have to be fair in the fact that they have not released any letters to say that they have confiscated anything.
Right. All right, well, look, that's what I was looking for, is we don't have the information that they're issuing letters to confiscate. As you say, no guarantees that that's not what they're planning. And I appreciate you coming on. I wanted people to hear this because people say, they wouldn't possibly confiscate guns in the U.S. Oh, yeah, they already have, and they may be thinking about doing that there. It does do us a disservice. It actually can do us harm if we react to something that's not happened, because then they can come back and say, that's not happening, you guys are crazy. And then we get marginalized, again, with the decision makers and with the media. So you have to be careful about that. Rich, appreciate that. Keep us posted on what's going on out there. 866-TALK-GUN. What's your choice for your personal defense gun? What are you thinking about buying? Are you going out and doing some shooting yet? Or are you still locked up with winter? Hey, it's 74 degrees where I am, but it's a lot colder further north. But Bill, you guys who shoot in the cold, you have my respect. Let me know what kind of conditions do you shoot in? 866-TALK-GUN.
A great trigger can make you a better shooter. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. Installation is easy. Give yourself the Timney Trigger advantage. To see more and order online, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY Triggers.com.
TopGunSupply.com carries a large selection of fine firearms and accessories. Get all the parts you need for your Sig Sauer, HK, and Glock pistols. Grips, screws, recoil springs, sights, barrels, magazines, holsters. The list goes on. Our knowledgeable sales staff, professional service, great prices, and super fast shipping are here to help you. Check us out today. TopGunSupply.com. TopGunSupply.com.
No matter what gun you have, you want it to hit harder, shoot faster and flatter, and be more accurate. You get all that with the ammunition from Double Tap. Double Tap's experts select the best bullets, then load them to higher velocities while keeping safe pressures. Shoot small groups. Shoot farther. Use custom hunting loads in your handgun or rifle. Even fire 2 projectiles with 1 shot. DoubleTapAmmo.com. That's DoubleTapAmmo.com.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, This really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
We don't talk about international affairs all that much around here. I don't know if you've been following what's going on in the Ukraine. And I know a lot of people say, I don't care what's going on in the Ukraine, really. You got to be a little bit more aware, a little bit more of a citizen of the world. We are citizens of the U.S., but we are in the world. You say, well, why should I care? Well, did you ever buy wolf ammo? It's cheap. It's plentiful. You can actually get it. What do you think is going to happen if Obama says, we're going to do something about the situation with Russia and the Ukraine? We're going to stop importation of ammunition from Russia. Poof. There goes, as Mike Vanderbilt says, the Russian ammo supply. Also, story out of China. You probably saw this one. An attack by a group of knife-wielding men. Looks like the count now is 33 people dead. Talk about your ultimate gun-free zone. China. China's a gun-free zone. I think what do they say in Michael? 4 guys right now? I think they're saying it's 4 guys with knives. Killed 33 people. I don't know if that includes the 4 attackers or not. Oh, yeah, how did it end? How do we stop them? Guys with guns showed up and shot them. Gee, what a thought. People with guns can stop mass murderers. Wow. Now, your only choice is, do I want to wait the 5, 10, 15 minutes till the guys with the guns get there, or do I want to be the first responder and make it stop right now? They're coming at me. They're coming at me with my wife here. They're coming at me with my wife and my children here. Aren't I glad that I paid attention to the no guns sign on the door of the mall? Don't I feel good about my carry gun being in my car? Personal choices, compromises. What do they say? The only easy day was yesterday. 866 Talk Gun will get you in here. Chris is on line 2. Chris out of St. Louis. How you doing?
Hey, Tom. First of all, the birdshot thing. When I was in law enforcement about 20-plus years ago, our warrants team used it as a breaching tool. So it works pretty effectively up close.
Yeah, now, I guess probably I should be more specific. And when I say up close, I am talking 10 feet from the muzzle and in. So that's, 3 steps.
Oh, yeah, within
3
inches.
steps and in.
But what I called about was HBO's Real Sports.
With Bryant Gumbel.
The show that was aired on 225 was a hatchet job on the NSSA. NSSF.
I knew that Real Sports was doing that show, but I didn't know. And I actually talked to them. They said, we're doing a piece on shooting competitions, young shooters. And I'm thinking, well, that's a good thing. And of course, what they're doing is were they maybe shading it just a smidge when they talked to me about it? It
was John Frankel. And at the end of the show, this is what just caused me to throw stuff at the TV last night. You talked about last week the progress that is made in cutting down on hunting accidents.
Mm-hmm.
He said those numbers were not available. He said that they couldn't determine causes of injuries to children. They made it sound like there was thousands of children being injured in hunting accidents every year, which is patently not true. This had me so angry. I've been texting our friends up at Bellevue all morning about this.
How bizarre. If anything, I would think that it might be true that crime stats can sometimes not be reported in such a way that they show up. I mean, you being in law enforcement, have that background, you understand that sometimes a crime that qualifies in one jurisdiction doesn't show up into that category in the FBI's crime reports. But accidents are always reported.
Well, what I was telling the call screener when I called in was 20 years. I've been out for over 20 years. But back then, if somebody showed up at an ER or a hospital or a doctor or, called an ambulance with a gunshot wound or a knife injury, law enforcement it was in California, it was a reportable. You had to call the police.
Right.
And they had to investigate it. There was no, he fell on a pitchfork in his backyard. No. Law enforcement responded to determine the cause.
Yeah, for anybody to say that gunshot accidents are underreported is bizarre to the point of you're wondering what universe they're living in. And the thing is, we have all these stats, and the CDC tracks all this, and the National Safety Council tracks all this, and they show that for the last 50 years, the number of children accidentally shot goes down, and the number of children accidentally killed by gunfire is at its all-time lowest rate right now that's ever been in 5+ decades. You know, I hate to say it, but it's just, I'm somehow not surprised. Come on, it's HBO, it's Bryant Gumbel. And yeah, they when they talked to me about this thing last week, I was taken in. I was thinking, yeah, they're doing a sports piece on young competitive shooters. Yeah, well, live and learn again.
One of Talker Magazine's 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. You're listening to Gun Talk, heard every week at this time on great radio stations across America. Stay tuned. Gun Talk is coming right back. Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, welcome back. 866-TALK-GUN over on Twitter at Gun Talk. We have, fascinating conversation going on over on Twitter. You might want to join us over there. Also, you can shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. A little earlier in the hour, we had someone on from Connecticut Carry, and I've got several emails from people, and I am doing the same thing you are. I am quite literally scratching my head and going, I don't know what that just was. That was a very weird conversation. He had asked to come on to correct that confiscation is not taking place. Letters may have gone out, or a letter may have gone out, and they may or may not say that there's confiscation, and they may or may not be planning on it. I don't know, guys. That was a request to come on and talk about it, but I am left more confused than when we started out. So don't feel like you're the lone stranger here if you're feeling the same way. We're going to see if we can get some more information on what's happening in Connecticut. Somebody can fill us in there. If you're there and want to help us out, by all means, 866-TALK-GUN, because I have to tell you, I didn't come away with any more information than I had before, and I think maybe I have less, which is kind of a weird deal. Line 4, Charlie's with us out of Bremerton, Washington. Hey, Charlie. Thanks for calling.
Just wanted to call in and say thank you very much for featuring Drury's Guns on your show and on your website. I just dealt with them down in San Antonio. I'm up here in Washington State. Dealt with them by email. Lewis was their sales manager. Was real helpful. Shipped a hunting handgun off to them that I can't use anymore because of some nerve damage that I've got. And I'm going to invest at least part of the money in a home defense AR, which I will be able to use.
So how was that process? Because I know people hear me talk about it and go, yeah, they're an advertiser, and Tom says they're good. you're not. They're not an advertiser for you, so you just had a straight up deal. How were they to work with?
It was as easy as could be. It was easy. If anything, it was even easier than driving to a gun shop and trying to shop it around for the best price. They have a little simple tab that you click on, sell your gun, on their website. You click on that, you do some information. Lewis, the sales manager, emails you back. They send UPS to drop off the packing material for you. UPS picks the box back up. It's done. They send you a check.
It's, I've used Dury's before, and we sold some guns to them and bought guns from them, and I have just found them to be, and I know it's overused. I know I get it. They're just good people. I just get a good feeling about it. Let me ask you, were they pretty straight up with, because what they told me is said, look, here's what the retail value on this gun is. This is what we're probably going to end up selling it for. And we're going to give you X less than that because we have to have our markup. I thought that was pretty straightforward.
And that's exactly what they did in my case. They said this is the retail. This is what we would be selling it for. If you want to sell it straight out, we'll take 30% off of that. If you want to put it on consignment, it's 20%. It's up to you whether you want the money right away or not. Wasn't worth me waiting for the extra 10%. But so it's, like I said, it couldn't have been easier.
Well, that's good to hear. And they will take one gun or they will take an entire collection. And in our case, we were moving a lot of guns after my dad died, and they actually flew out and looked at them, and that worked out very well. So they're good folks to work with. Dury's Guns, DURYSguns.com. I appreciate the report, Charlie, because the people need to hear it from more than just me. I try not to shade things, but I know that there's always a question of, well, why is he really saying this? Well, in this case, it's because that's the way it is. Appreciate that call. Line 3, Jerry's with us out of Mesquite, Texas. Jerry, what is your favorite gun?
Well, my favorite gun is my little 22 Derringer.
A Derringer?
Long shot.
Hey, Jerry, have you got me on speaker? Could you pick up that phone and take it off a speaker, please?
Happy to. Actually, I don't like the speaker either.
Yeah,
I have a little 22 Derringer, 6-shot or 5-shot long rifle, and it fits in my watch pocket.
Okay, it's not a Derringer then. It's a revolver, right?
Yeah, it's a revolver, but it's it's only 4 inches long and 2 inches deep. Fits in my watch pocket.
That's the north.
I'm from Vermont. I just got here from Vermont, and Vermont has you can conceal a weapon without a permit. You don't need a permit in Vermont. Right. It's the only state I know of that has that. And
actually,
I was a cop back in '61 to '67 here in Texas, and so I took my training in San Antonio. Seems like 100 years ago. But hearing all your talk and your knowledge and stuff, I have a Sterling. You ever hear of that?
Sure.
Sterling pistol?
Yeah, I know. I know the Sterling. What caliber?
32.
Okay.
So 32 is the rim shot. And I can't find bullets for it. I've been to a couple of gun shows, and the gun shows haven't had it.
Yeah.
That was back east. I just got to Mesquite here a couple of months ago.
You just got an old gun, man. It's going to be hard to find ammo for that. Jerry, look, I've got to keep running here. I appreciate that. Just for everybody to understand, what Jerry has is not a Derringer. It is a North American Arms mini revolver. Derringer, he's thinking that means small, but actually a Derringer is a break action, generally an over and under style. But either way, it's a small, concealable, pocketable gun, and the North American Arms gives you 5 shots of 22, or they actually have a 22 Magnum. Which is not bad. Like I say, it's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. So that will certainly work for you. Again, I am not a fan, and you probably know this if you have listened for any length of time, I'm not a real fan of Derringers, but, you use what you can. So there you go. 866-TALK-GUN. That'll get you in here. We'll be right back.
What's that?
It's my Trijicon.
What's a Trijicon?
Only the best rifle scope in the world.
Says who?
How about the U.S. Marine Corps, Special Forces, Navy SEALs? You heard of these guys?
Sure.
Well, they're all using Trijicons.
Let me see it. Wow, this is really sharp.
And a lot of professional hunters are using Trijicon, too. You probably caught it on some TV and radio shows.
Yeah, I have heard some of them swear by their Trijicon.
I swear by it.
You know, I could have been a Navy SEAL.
Well, the closest you're going to get now is buying a Trijicon.
Hey.
Trijicon is the brand of rifle scopes that more and more hunters are swearing by. That's because every Trijicon is handcrafted using the finest optic materials. The bright aiming point can guarantee you a great hunt from dawn to dusk. Get your Trijicon at a dealer near you or visit them on the web at Trijicon.com. That's Trijicon.com. Trijicon. Brilliant aiming solutions.
There's a rise in home invasions in America, and you need to be ready. Ready to protect yourself and your family. The bedside backup from Crossbreed Holsters keeps your gun at your bedside, ready to go. It also folds flat for easy storage and travel. Take it with you and use with any hotel bed. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com. The bedside backup is not a child safety device.
Long-range shooting is challenging and fun, but most precision rifle bullets aren't right for hunting. Nosler's AccuBond LR long-range bullets are designed specifically for hunters. They combine the incredible on-game performance AccuBond bullets have delivered around the world with incredible long-range properties. High ballistic coefficients make for bullets which shoot flat and defy the winds. The sleekest, flattest shooting, bonded hunting bullet ever designed. Nosler's AccuBond LR. For more info, visit Nosler.com.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Thanks for being one of the 100 million gun owners in America who support Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Even if you don't want to be on the air, you can still email Tom with your questions or concerns at tom@guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk.
Hey, did you get the Gun Talk newsletter last week? If you have signed up for the newsletter and you didn't get it, sign up again. Because we sent one out. You should have gotten your Gun Talk newsletter with lots of news and comments, and actually a report of a success for the Truth Squad. One of our members, actually have a lot of them that do this, who send out letters. They get published in papers, and we get the truth out there. It's like this HBO Real Sports thing that just ran. We're able to say, hey, not only are you wrong, but you're demonstrably easily proven wrong. And your bias is out there embarrassing you. And if you're not embarrassed by it, then it means that you're proud of your own bias. So we have to speak up. Simple as that. Let's go to line 2. Vicki is in Lewiston, Idaho. Hey, Vicki, you're on Gun Talk.
Hi there. I was just calling because I wanted to suggest that maybe you could ask people to call their local radio show to pledge support for Gun Talk. You're on 950 KOZE here in Lewiston, Idaho, and I called last week. You were preempted by a sports show, and I called to complain, and the manager said that only I and one other person has ever called regarding Gun Talk. And so he said, I don't even know if people are listening. And you would think in Lewiston, Idaho, people would be listening to Gun Talk. And
that's an excellent point.
So I thought, maybe you should, make a point to have people call a local radio show, especially, here, and let them know that we do listen. And I would hate to have you not be on the air because no one ever calls, either way.
Vicki, I appreciate you saying that. It's something I have mentioned a number of times. We are all very quick to respond when we are upset, offended, mad, whatever, but we never pick up the phone to say thanks. We are very slow to do that. And, we have lost, it's like back when the American Sportsman was running on ABC TV, a bunch of anti-hunters wrote in and said, we'll never watch that show again. We'll never buy a Chevrolet again because you sponsored that killing show. Millions and millions of people were watching that show, but they never wrote in to say, hey, Chevrolet, appreciate your sponsorship. We appreciate that. Hey, ABC, we're glad you're running that. 5,000 people write in and they yank it off the air. So, yeah, we have to say thanks. We have to say, hey, I'm listening. It's an excellent point, Vicki. Thank you for that. If you are listening to this on a local radio station, call your radio station and speak to whomever you can speak to, the general manager, the program director, somebody, and say, hey, just wanted to say thanks. We really appreciate you running Gun Talk. Because as Vicki says, there's liable to be somebody else calling in and say we don't like it. And if they never hear from anybody, they have no idea that you're out there listening. So it pays to pick up the phone and say thanks. And Vicki, I appreciate that. Let's see. Line 1, Tom's in Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, Tom.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Well, my question is, I made an application for a suppressor, and it's gone in supposedly from the dealer that can do it, but he's been charged with income tax evasion and sales tax problems, and I talked to the dealer. He says, no problem, you'll get it. But I was just wondering, is there any situation where a guy could just get that to another FFL dealer and have it put it into escrow or something so that when it goes through, I'll get the thing?
I don't know. Tell you what I'm going to do. Can you keep listening? I'm going to put out the call for help. This is one where I need some help on this one. Tom, we've got a situation where the dealer he ordered his suppressor through is in trouble, possibly tax trouble, possibly money trouble. Is there any way for him to get that order switched over to another dealer? What has to happen, or is he stuck, or is there a way to bail out and start over? I just don't know, Tom, but I'm going to ask for some help here. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in there. Help me out a little bit, guys. I need the help, all right? Line 4, Wayne's with us, Wasilla, Alaska. He's got a couple of Smith & Wessons that are causing him problems. How you doing, Wayne?
Yes, I bought two M&P 9mm for me and my wife to go out and practice with. And we took it out to the range and started shooting and found that they were shooting low. So I sandbagged both of them, and at about 20, 25 feet, they were shooting about 10 inches low. And I thought that was kind of strange, but since both of them shot the same, I called the Smith & Wesson company, and they really didn't have an answer. I was sent a front sight that was a little bit shorter to bring it up, but it didn't bring it up enough to really make any difference. And I went around to the different gun stores around here to see if they had a aftermarket sight that might be adjustable or something I could raise it up. But he said no. So basically what I have right now is two paperweights that makes a lot of noise. And I definitely wouldn't take it out in public where if I found a situation where I'd have to actually discharge it, that I wouldn't know where the bullet was really going.
All right, Wayne, hold on. Wayne, hold on. Let me start asking some questions here. See if I can help you out. First of all, what other handguns do you have, and how do they shoot?
I have a Kimber. I have an 868 Smith & Wesson. I have a Taurus, and they're all right on the money.
Okay. When you hold, do you hold a 6 o'clock hold on the bullseye, or do you hold right in the middle of the bullseye?
I hold right in the middle of the bullseye.
Okay. And you've never had this problem with any other gun, so obviously you know how to shoot. Okay.
If I shoot a doorknob at the center lock, I hit the center lock. I don't hit down below somewhere.
I have no idea. I can't even imagine. I've never seen any pistol shoot 10 inches low at 20 feet. I can't even imagine. I mean, my first thought, of course, is, yanking trigger, but you're shooting other guns well. I don't have any idea. Here's what I would suggest. I would contact Smith and say, hey, guys, I want to send these back to you and have you test them, and then have them say, oh, yeah, well, no, they're right on, or something. But that's what I would do. I would give Smith & Wesson a chance to take a look at those, because I can't for the life of me figure out how those things would be shooting that low.
Gun Talk stands for safety, personal responsibility, and common courtesy. To be a part of the show, call 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Gun Talk will be right back.
All right, back with the 866 Talk Gun. Jerry's on line 3 out of Arkansas. Hey, Jerry.
Hey there, sir. Your thing on Twitter about the shotgun indoors and the effectiveness of birdshot, I mean this in all strictest humor. Always ask for volunteers.
I've heard people say that. People say, well, that 9mm isn't much. So, really, can I shoot you with it? And they go, oh, well, no. Okay, well then, yeah, okay. I mean, obviously just joking, but I understand when people say that's not very effective. Say, really? That's when, here's what I would suggest, and Jerry, I appreciate the call. Take a couple of 1-gallon water jugs. So that's about it's probably about 12 inches, okay? Take 3 of them, line them up. And then walk up with a tape measure 5 feet, not yards, 5 feet from the muzzle, and shoot them with any size shot you want to shoot them with. And then when you're done, tell me how ineffective that is for self-defense. I don't know. Line 2, George is with us. Perry, Georgia, talking about chokes. Hey, George.
Yes, sir. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. What's up?
Rather than addressing the birdshot size, let's talk about choke tubes. That seems very important to me.
Why does that seem important to you?
Well, if you used a full choke, then you would get a much smaller pattern. I could actually put a turkey choke in my Mossberg and probably blow through 2 walls. So I just want your opinion.
No, it doesn't work that way. Because here's the thing. The difference in pattern size is infinitesimal if you went from an open cylinder, no choke, to a turkey choke at 5 to 10 feet. They're both going to be roughly 1 to 2 inches, maybe 3 inches across. There's just not going to be any difference. Now, if you get out at 30 yards, monstrous difference. That turkey choke's going to have a real tight pattern, but up close, it's not going to make any difference. And once that shot hits a wall and sprays out, it might go through it, but there's going to be so little energy left in those little pellets that it's not going to be a danger to other people. And that's the whole issue. I mean, this would not be my choice because of where I am. But for people who say, I am concerned about pass-through, I'm concerned about over-penetration, going through walls and hitting the house trailer next to mine, this is an option. It is, like everything else, it's a compromise. I carry a 9 when I would really rather carry a 500 Express, but I can't. So I carry a 9. It's my compromise position. Eric's on line 1 in Utah. Hey, Eric, got about a minute. Go ahead.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good. I was listening to the conversation with the gentleman from Connecticut. Just to let you know, I am originally from Connecticut. I now I have 2 homes in Utah and Nevada, and I have concealed weapons permits in both states. The whole discussion with the assault weapons, the letter basically that did go out stated that, hey, we have passed a law, you have to register them. If you don't, you now have an illegal assault weapon and are subject to confiscation and or criminal charges. We want you to register them. And if you're online at any of the talk sites, you're going to see many people with this macho bravado saying, "Oh, it's going to be civil war. Let them try and take my gun."
Eric. Here's the problem. Now you can't register. I mean, you get this, right? You're required to register it, but now it's too late to register it. So if you try to register it now, it's an admission that you committed a felony. That's a tough place to be. We're requiring you to obey the law, but now we're going to prevent you from obeying the law. And if you try to obey the law, we're going to arrest you for a felony conviction and you lose your gun rights forever.
Firearms, ammunition, recreational and competitive shooting, training, hunting, and yes, even politics. You're listening to Gun Talk. Call us now at 1-866-825-5486. That's 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Or reach out to us via email at tom@guntalk.com.